Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjanam Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Narayanam Gurum Vande Sharanyam Bhakta Bandhavam Gauramanubhishtam Purnam Radha Dasyam Pradayakam Rupanugacharya Varyam Rupamanjari Preshtakam Patita Pavana Karunyam Yugacharya Narayanam Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Namo mahavadanyaya krishna prema pradayate krishnaya krishna chaitanya namne gaura tuise namaha. Shama sundara shikanda shekara Smirahasra Murali Manohara Radhikara Shikamam Kripanide Swapriya Charana Kinkarim Kuru Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vrindaye Tulasi Deviyai Priyai Keshava Sacha Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavatyaye Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. So first of all, I begin offering my most humble obeisances to the dust of the lotus feet of Paramaradhyatama Sri Guru Pada Padma Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Paribrajacharya Ashtotara Sata Srimad Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj Srila Gurudeva. And to my most worshipable Shikshan Sannyasa Guru Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnu Pada Ashtotara Sata Srimad Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, and to all our spiritual masters from the past, present, and the future, and to all the assembled guests here today, my most respectful obeisances. So, perhaps all of you heard about the concept of Maya. Yes? So Maya means illusion. In Sanskrit, it is that which is not. What seems to be something which actually it is not in its essence. So, before beginning our subject, I have to little bit introduce to you the understanding that this world is made of Maya. It is made out of illusion. In which sense? In the sense that it looks to be eternal, but it is not. It looks like a very wonderful place, but it is not. Looks like it is our home, but it is not. Looks like to be a source of great bliss, but it is not. It is actually full of miseries, full of pain and suffering. This is the nature of the material world. And behind all this pile of dust, we have the absolute truth, hidden behind so many also misconceptions, false philosophies, false doctrines, false gurus. So many misinformation is there, so many. So what can we rely upon to be sure that the information we are getting, it is bona fide or not? That's the most challenging part. There are so many studies on Bhagavad-gita. So many. The Gita is one of the most translated books in history, and perhaps the most read book in whole history. It has approximately 800 commentaries, 800 different authors officially, plus the spontaneous ones, that they try to give their own understanding of Bhagavad-gita, right? But that cannot be. All they cannot be right. That is the only certainty we have, is that they cannot be right all. But some of them might be right? Of course, the minority, So today I want to little bit bring some new informations, bring some new type of understandings about Bhagavad-gita. New, I mean, to the general, classes about Bhagavad-gita. Not new that I am bringing, that I created or I interpreted, not like that. I just try to repeat the words of my masters. But it is new for the common sense. It is new for the mainstream. Because you have to realize that the mainstream is also Maya. So there is a lot of misinformation about India, about Vedic culture, about yoga, which is being brought from there only. A lot. So whatever is mainstream, you must step a little bit, aside and check it very carefully. Very carefully. In India itself, what to speak of the West? In India itself, the mainstream is not the correct understanding of what is Vedic culture, what is called Sanatan Dharma, right? We can begin analyzing the concept of Hinduism. Hinduism is something which is not Vedic. It's not Vedic. It is not mentioned anywhere in the Vedas, this word Hindu or Hindutva. It was brought by first by Alexander the Great when he invaded India. He invaded from the north, and he mentioned that the people across the river Sindhu, they are the Indus. And then later on, with the invasion of the Muslims, the pronunciation changed from Hindu to Hindu, because they have this guttural pronunciation in the Arabic language. So then the Hindi language itself is a half Sanskrit and half Farsi, which is the Arabic language, and also Urdu, means all the Muslim languages. It is actually Hindi. They only use the alphabet from Sanskrit. They call Devanagari. But the language itself, everything is actually Arabic. It's not legitimate like Hindu or Vedic, not like that. So from this perspective, you can already understand how much misinformation, how much misconceptions are there. Later on, we got the British. They invaded India. For 200 years, they were there. And they just created even more layers of misinformation, of fake news. And they also kept very strongly the Hindu name and the concept of Hindu being like a religion, that englobes everyone that lives there. But that's not true. First of all, we have to understand that the Vedic culture is different from any other culture. Why? Because it is not made from one religion, but it has inside many different religions. For example, the Jewish culture is coming directly from Judaism. It is a result of the religion. Also Christianity, Buddhism, and Islam, all these cultures derived directly from the religion itself. But Sanatana Dharma, which is the name, the technical name for Hinduism, actually it is a culture above different religions. Inside of the Vedas, you don't have one religion, you have many religions. One of them is the Vaishnavism, the one which I follow, that worship Krishna and all the different avatars like Narayana, Ram, like that. You have the yogis in the line of Patanjali. You have the Shaktas that worship Durga and all the manifestation of the energy, like the material energy. You have the Shaivites that worship Lord Shiva. These are all different religions in itself. But above all of them, you have the umbrella of the Vedic culture. So it is such a special culture that can embrace and produce so many subcultures within these sub-religions, like we can say. So even if you don't want to follow any of these religions, still you can follow the Vedic culture. There is no need to be under any of these religions to take advantage of the Vedic culture. There is no need for that. Because this is the eternal culture. This is the God's culture. You know, God has also a routine. God has also his own way of expressing himself. So, and he does that through the Vedic culture. God has his own culture. God is not just, a light or an energy or someone who is just sitting there, silently. No. Everything, all the creation is expression of God's mind. So we are living inside of God's mind. So God is so complex that he has to express himself in a civilizational way. God is not so simple. God is very complex. And not only that, in so many types of yogas also. Not only one yoga, but many yogas also. So in this way, the Hindu term is not actually saying anything about those people and also about that philosophy or that culture. It is just a very simplistic way to say that, okay, they are too complex for us to understand. Let us label them, in a very simple way and put everyone inside of the same box, and that's done. They are all Hindus. No, there is no such identification as so for those who live there. And I could realize this, especially when I came to live over there. And once you are there from watching the world and the history from their perspective, what happens is that you begin to see the past actually much further than what they teach us here. Because here they teach us only the European history. They don't go too far. They don't go too far, right? In Brazil, we also learn only European history. And so all these ideas that man evolved from apes, we live in caves. I mean, maybe the Europeans evolved from apes, but the Indian culture, the ancient sages, they were living a very high advanced civilization from hundreds of thousands of years ago. I'm just being a little bit conservative, actually millions and millions of years. Then we realize how far is our past, because the Vedas describe the yugas, how the universe has 315 trillion years of age, each universe, and there are innumerable universes living simultaneously. So life becomes so vast and so broad that it blows our mind. Before we learn everything in very small box, You can fit, okay, maximum 100,000 years man came and then evolved from apes, then came from Africa. Here they start living in the caves, and then they develop fire, and then they start to become, like nomads, and then again they became, fixed in one place. Then agriculture came, then domestic animals came. All these things. This is actually so insignificant near the vast and complex nature of the Vedic culture. You think fire comes out of striking two rocks against each other? Thousands of years ago, they were producing fire through mantra. And still nowadays, you still can do it. Fire was always something that we used. So we have to begin to expand a little bit our consciousness, our vision to a much broader past. And that past is going to actually give you the key for your present. Because in the way you are going to live now, it's how you're going to achieve your enlightenment in the future. I would like to come and just speak about love, speak about devotion, speak about yoga, but before that, we have to actually establish so many philosophical concepts. It's not so simple. Why is that? Because bhakti is about sentiments. Bhakti is about emotions, right? But those emotions, they have to be backed up by the proper way of expressing it and the proper concept behind it. So love is not just letting your heart, feel whatever it wants. No. Love also means how to learn about love and what love is. So there is a lot of philosophical discussions before we come to the proper feeling itself. So in this way, we are bound to discuss history, science, culture, philosophy, to make sure we are in the same common background of understanding. For instance, I have graduated myself in philosophy, and one of the most difficult, things in philosophy is that terms and words can be used with a different definition. So first of all, we have to set up the same common ground. Okay, when I say love, do you understand in the same way that I understand? When I say peace, do you understand in the same way that I understand? So we have to set up this ground. So in this way, the intellectual, exercise is much needed, much needed. Even if I tell you about surrendering your life and becoming a renounced person like me, it also requires a lot of concepts, a lot of understanding about this. It's not so simple. So in this way, now coming to our subject, the Bhagavad-gita. Bhagavad-gita means the song of God. Because when God speaks, He's not just speaking like I'm doing now. He sings. He speaks with metrics, with lyrics, with mood, with so much poetry. So that becomes a song. God, He does not walk, He dances. Because every movement He does, it's full of beauty, full of art, full of spiritual expressions, and the highest manifestation of love. So we have everything, the best, in Krishna. Because for us, Krishna, He is God. And in the Bhagavad-gita, one of the most important things is that Krishna, He declares that. He declares that. He says to Arjuna, Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajantemam buddha bhava samamvita. Krishna tells to Arjuna, Arjuna, I am the source of everything. All the material worlds, all the spiritual worlds, they emanate from myself only. And then Krishna, He manifests His Virat Rupa, His Vishwarupa, His universal form to Arjuna, in which He is manifesting all the avatars, all the different demigods, all even the demons, all the galaxies, all the universes, everything he's showing to Arjuna. And Arjuna, he becomes frightened, very fearful, and he folds his hands and he's kneeing down and he's praying to Krishna, please withdraw this form. This is very fearful, very fearsome. Please manifest yourself again with the two arms as I used to know. Because that is the intimacy, right? Because from historical facts, Arjuna is a cousin of Krishna. They're cousins, right? So, in this way, the greatest revelation of the Gita is that Krishna, he is showing, oh, I'm here. I am God and I have come here for you. The interesting fact that I told you I'm going to bring new things and some, very challenging, questions. From all the different religions that we have, and we respect all of them, they are also expressions of God. We have God speaking to us, right? In the Old Testament, we have God speaking to us through Moses and so many other, personalities. Also in Islam, also Allah speaks through Muhammad. And in this way, we have, somehow the desire of God to manifest those religions. But nevertheless, he himself never appeared in those religions. Right? You can agree with me. No one have seen the Jewish God, the Christian God, or the Muslim God. No one have seen. And any other religion also, he didn't come. But differently, Krishna has come. And that is the most astonishing fact. The Krishna has come. And that's also not so surprising, because if God is one, he could not come in different, religions claiming to be the only God. So that is the very, very important fact, that among all the major religions, only Krishna came. And not only Krishna. Krishna also manifested different aspects of himself that also came in this world, like Ram, like Nisringha, like Vamana, Buddha, Kalki, Kurma, so many different avatars. They came one after the other. But Krishna, he is known as the Avatari. Avatari is the source of the avataras. Krishna is not an incarnation, a partial incarnation of God. He is God himself, right? So in what Krishna wants with the Bhagavad-gita, he is trying to actually teach Arjuna about love, about devotion. But because Arjuna is not ready, he is not, connected in the same understanding as I told you before, that Krishna wants him to be. Then Krishna has to go back and begin to explain the basic knowledge. You are not this body, you are a soul, the soul never dies, the soul always incarnates. As you change this cloth, the soul changes one body to another body. So Krishna, he begins from basic to Arjuna, explain everything. Does Arjuna does not know all these things? Yes, he knows. But this is what we call lila. Lila means a pastime. Pastime is something that God does with the aim with the objective of teaching us something which we need, but does not mean that he is bound by that, right? So Arjuna, he is a pure devotee, he is a great yogi, he is a perfected soul, but nevertheless he is playing the role of being ignorant. Why? To help us, because we are ignorant. We need this knowledge. So in the Gita Upanishad, that's a different commentary on Gita, it is explained that Arjuna is like the calf and Krishna is like the cow. The cow only gives milk in the presence of the calf. So Arjuna is there So Krishna, he can deliver that message for us to drink this nectar, right? Now let us come to another very important reflection, is that Krishna, he is trying to talk about love and yoga and bliss, but why he chose the war scenario to discuss this subject? Have you thought about it? Why he did not go to the Himalayas where all the yogis are performing in a very sattvic environment, very peaceful environment, to talk about spirituality? But Krishna, he chose to be in the battlefield. This is very intriguing. It's very mysterious. Why is that? There are so many, hidden reasons for that. I will try to explain a couple of them. First reason is that when you are in war, life becomes very austere, right? You have to refrain from a lot of enjoyment, from eating, from sleeping, right? You go into a very different type of, situation that puts you in a very limit of your understanding of life. So in those moments, you begin to value life in a very different way, right? You begin to understand life in a very different way. So in the same way, either you put yourself in that stage of war, otherwise life you put yourself in that stage. And to be a monk like myself, it is like living in a state of war all the time. We are completely refrained from sense gratification, from eating, from sleeping. Our life is always in its, limit, in the sense of that what we can use in this world, what we can, take from this world, and also give. So life becomes very intense. Every moment is very intense for us. Every moment is a chance to be with God, is a chance to do this yoga, is a chance to surrender and to give everything you have to the service of God. But if you are very comfortable in your life, there are not many challenges, there are not many things to check you, then you keep going unlimitedly in the sense gratification. Even if in name of the spirituality, still we can indulge in so much sense gratification. And that is going to be detrimental to your spiritual life. So therefore, somehow, Krishna, he will arrange either for you to renounce or either for a war to come at your doorstep. So we have to see everything as God's mercy. The understanding of being Krishna conscious or being connected with God is that we have to see Him behind each and every moment, each and every place. And everything is for our benefit. So then Krishna, he is choosing this battlefield because he's showing that this very peaceful place on top of the mountain, these are only for those who already came out of the battlefield. But most of us, the masses, we are on the battlefield. And we have to face this. If you want to jump to the mountain without first controlling your senses, checking yourself, putting yourself under simple life, discipline and everything, you're not going to be successful. Because you are going to mistake spiritual life with another type of enjoyment. But life is not meant for enjoyment. Enjoyment is also an illusion. So therefore, time to time, God knocks in our door and says, yes, by force I have to put you in this condition. By force. You can see by natural example that places in the world which are always being threatened by, wars and political oppression like that, are the countries that we have more devotion. like China, Russia, and in India itself, that was under, a very severe control of so many foreigners. These places we have a lot of devotion, a lot. China recently is exploding, in devotion. Thousands and thousands of people they are joining. Not only Vaishnavism and Vedic culture, but also Christianity as well. That we see as part of the Vedic culture. We believe that Jesus Christ, he was also an avatar. And his name is mentioned in a book called Bhavishya Purana. He's one of the Puranas. Bhavishya means future. So this Purana talks about future. So his name is there. So in this way, we believe also he went to India and so many things like that. And all the teachings of Jesus, they match, totally with the teachings of the Vedas, completely. So in this way, all these challenges are very, very important for us to make us mature, to make us grow stronger. I will bring you one more important point. In the beginning, Arjuna, he was in a dilemma, right? He didn't know what to do, fight or not fight. Because on the opposite side, his relatives were there, the Kauravas. Kauravas are also the Pandavas' cousins, right? And not only that, on the side of the Kauravas, we had Bhishma Pitamaha, we have Dronacharya. Dronacharya was the guru of the weapons. He was teaching all the Pandavas and all the Kauravas how to become a Kshatriya, because they are from the caste of the warriors. There are 4 castes, right? Shudra, Vaishya, Kshatriya and Brahman. These 4 castes are there. Some people say these castes are to oppress the society, right? And to, to ban the untouchables like the Shudras and all these things. This is a very bad thing. But I will tell you, this is not a bad thing. Because in the Gita itself, Krishna, he describes the castes. He calls it Varnas. Chaturvarnam Mayashrishtam. All the 4 Varnas, the 4 castes, they are created by God himself to organize the society according to people's inner nature, inner talents. So, according to your inner nature, you were born according to your karma, you were born in such and such caste. Each and everyone have their own duties, their own capacities in the society. Well, we do not classify around the world according to castes. But in each and every country, in each and every society, we have people divided into all these castes. Naturally. Isn't it? You have in your own country, you have the workers, like the physical laborers. You have the farmers. You have the businessmen. You have the artists. You have the politicians. You have the army. You have the priests, right? It's a common thing for the society. The difference is that when you acknowledge this fact, you can organize the society and not allow people to cheat others. For instance, if you want to become like a president of some country, you must be in the Kshatriya caste. Kshatriyas are the warriors, are the kings, and the ministers, those who manage the society. Why? Because the society must be managed by those who can protect that society. So the kings, they are the head of the army, and the king collects some taxes to fund the army and then protect that whole kingdom. That's the original understanding of monarchy. Not to be someone who is exploiting. That came much later. When Kali Yuga started, we had the corruption of the castes. But in the very beginning, castes were perfectly balanced. So in the same way, if you want to be like a president, you must be in that caste. Because if you are like a businessman, or if you are like a Shudra, or like a priest, you won't fit in that position. Either you lack some qualities, or either you will not be able even to understand or manage properly, because your nature is not like that, right? So caste is not a bad thing. Please don't think bad about it. This is a part of the British propaganda, against Indian culture. They try by so many ways to, like defame the Vedic society, right? So, come back to Arjuna's dilemma. Arjuna, he is in a dilemma because the opposite side, called the Kauravas, they declare war. Arjuna and Krishna, they didn't want war, but they were forced to go. Because Arjuna and Krishna, they are very peaceful, they are on the good side, right? And others are on the bad side. They want to control, they want to dictatorship, they want oppression, they want, all types of misbehaviors. Then Arjuna is telling to Krishna, Krishna, I don't want to kill my own relatives. I know they are not doing so well, but nevertheless, they are my relatives. They are my cousins, my uncles, my, gurus even. I don't want to fight. That will be a very sinful activity of mine to kill them. So better if I lose, let them win, then at least I will be free from this, blame on my shoulders. Then what Krishna says? No, you have to fight. You are meant to fight. If they take control of the society, then what will be? Not only of you, of all the citizens, what will be of them? They will be oppressed. They will be completely exploited, because these people, they are like demons. They are exploiting others. So what to do? You have to fight. You have to kill them. And if you don't do it, then it will be like a sin. Because to not follow your dharma, this is the most sinful thing. So sometimes we have conceptions of what is to be like political correct. Sometimes we have what is our dharma that should be done. And we sometimes do not calculate what is more sinful. But Krishna makes very, very clear. To neglect your dharma, this is more sinful than to kill someone. And not only that, those who are being killed in a battlefield, they will be delivered. They're not going to suffer any type of pain. Because the battlefield, when it's a holy war, those who die there, they get the liberation. They don't go to hell or any type of suffering. They're going to be liberated. So you are doing a good thing for them. Because by killing them on this battlefield, actually you're giving them the highest destination. But Arjuna, he was in Gandhi's mode, I used to say. No, Mahatma Gandhi. Mahatma Gandhi, he is being considered to be a great pacifist, a great freedom fighter from the non-violent perspective, right? Ahimsa. But I might, shake your conceptions by explaining something different regarding Mahatma Gandhi, which is actually not that much positive as we were taught about it. A little bit of history is important. Mahatma Gandhi's movement lasts for almost 30 years. 30 years. And the British only got stronger and stronger. They couldn't actually change almost nothing inside. They started making some clothes and collecting some salt, small things. But basically, the British government was there, doing whatever they wanted. And not only that, beating a lot of people and killing a lot of people who came from the Gandhi's movement. Then finally, Gandhi, he died. Then we had other freedom fighters in India. One of them is called Subhash Chandra Bose. Heard about him? Subhash Chandra Bose, one of the most famous ones. After Gandhi left, then his movement lost strength, and then the movement of Subhash Chandra Bose became very strong because he was actually advocating to fight, just like Aurobindo. Sri Aurobindo, you heard about Aurobindo, who has Auroville in India, this famous, self-sustainable village. Aurobindo, he was a freedom fighter who was fighting with guns, and later he was in exile in England, no, not in England, in France. Anyhow, so when the movement of Subhash Chandra Bose came into a very strong position, they start to fight, really fight with guns, with weapons. Within 2 years, the British left. So this is the teaching that Gandhi could not understand from Bhagavad-gita. That when you have someone oppressing you, you have to fight in an equal level, in the same level. To be non-violent, this is not more virtuous. This is not more elevated. This is actually detrimental because you are compromising the whole society behind something that cannot defeat your enemy. Therefore, we have the Kshatriyas. Gandhi, he was a Brahmin. And the Brahmana's nature is not fighting. The Brahmana's nature is peaceful. Peace. So therefore, you cannot use a Brahmin to fight against warriors. You need other warriors. You need the army to come. Therefore, Gandhi, he was not in a proper position to take that post. This is not the job of a Brahmin. So, when the Kshatriyas, they took over with Subhash Chandra Bose, they fought, and then British were expelled within 2 years only. Otherwise, they would be there till today. No one wants to give up so easily a very, rich place like India. India is one of the richest places in the whole world. It was, at least, but they just, they took everything. Like the biggest diamond is called Kohinoor. This is in the Buckingham Palace, on the crown of the Queen. The biggest diamond in the history come from South India. They just looted and took everything away. Trillions and trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars and pounds, whatever, they took. So, and one of the most, horrible holocausts happened actually in India. Millions died of hunger. Millions in West Bengal. Perhaps you heard about or not. They don't teach these things in our common schools and universities. They don't tell these things. Millions, more than the Ukraine Holodomor, more than, of course, the Jewish one, much more, much bigger. Millions and millions, dozens of millions of people died because the British, they took out all the grains, they let everyone just perish. So we are dealing with this type of people. You want to fold your hands and go in front of them and say, please leave. Otherwise, you can beat me, no problem. This is not proper. You see, I am speaking from the perspective of someone who is not a Kshatriya. I am from the priest side. I am from the side of the Brahmanas. We are priests. I'm not a Brahmana, of course, by birth. We are Vaishnavas, which is different than the Brahmanas. But I am in the side of a priest, of being a monk. I would not fight. I will not fight. I will not indulge in fighting. It's not my nature, not my desire. But I know that is necessary, and I will call those who are to come and do it. So this is the greatest teachings of Bhagavad-gita. Follow your dharma, and if you, this is very important to understand, if you avoid using violence, thinking this is sinful, you are actually committing a greater violence by letting the innocent people vulnerable. You got my point? If you have the possibility to fight and protect someone through violence, you must do it. Because if you don't, there is a greater violence that you are actually promoting when these innocent people are getting, you know, disturbed, right? So, spiritual life is not something that we have to take for granted. Spiritual life requires sometimes a warrior spirit. Because ultimately, remember, we are in a war. I'm not in a weapon war, but I'm in a different war. War against Maya. Yes, very good. War against Maya. Every time Maya is attacking, every time, from all sides, from within, from without, from top, from bottom, we have to fight. So this war mode is very favorable for a spiritual life. I might be saying something which might sound a little bit awkward and strange, but as I told you, I have come today to bring something new, many new things out of mainstream. Because the mainstream speech of spirituality is, oh, be peaceful, no war, peace and love, everything is this. No, no. That's not what the Vedas are telling us. This is not the shape and the mood of Vedic culture. It's not. So Krishna, he's describing 17 types of yoga in a battlefield just prior to the war start. He's describing the highest subject matter, the highest. So that must be somehow, meaningful and necessary for us to understand. How do I fit in this context? Perhaps looks like we are not in a battlefield, but symbolically, yes. Symbolically, yes. And perhaps even soon we can be physically also. At any time we can be, because this material world would never have one day of peace. Never. I have not come here to delude you and create false, hope and say, yes, you must pray for a world peace. You must, expect that, peace must come. No. We don't pray for all these things. We pray to become delivered from this material world and never take birth again. Do you want to make this world like a paradise? Well, I have no such, what to say, expectation. This world will never be a paradise. Now coming back to the Subhash Chandra Bose. The same person, he met with one of our gurus. 3 generations back, they met. Our guru, his name is Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. He was the one who established our mission, the mission which I follow nowadays. He was one of the greatest personalities that ever appeared in this world. I could go on and on telling his glories, but so he met with Subhash Chandra Bose, and Subhash Chandra Bose was very much, excited with his movement. He's going to accomplish, and he's trying to gather, connections and power from all sides. And then he came to our spiritual master, and then he told, why don't you join our fight? And Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said, why don't you join my fight? And then he said, but what is your fight? Is your fight greater than mine? I am trying to free India from the clutches of British. We want to kick the British out of India. And he said, okay, But I am trying to free all of you from the clutches of Maya. I'm trying to make you not take birth again in this world. Be you British or be you an Indian. Doesn't matter. And then Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he told to Subhash Chandra Bose, you know Bhagavad-gita, right? He said, yes, of course. So you know some shlokas, some verses. He said, yes, we are Hindus, we must know about Bhagavad-gita. He said, yes, then perhaps you know that Krishna gave there a very basic teaching that whatever you are thinking at the moment of your death, you're going to become that. Right? So we have many examples of that. And then he says, yes, I know that. So you are thinking so much about the British. So perhaps at the time of your death, if you're thinking about the British, you might become one of them. And then you're going to take a birth in England. And then what will happen? You become against the Indians. So is it the proper way of fighting? Is it a proper conception of life as a whole, not as looking some, immediate conflict, but looking life as a whole? What is the cause of all the problems? There is only one cause of all problems. There are not many problems. We have actually one problem. And this problem is why we are not getting delivered from this world, why we are taking birth again and again in this world. That's the only problem. You are not going to be subjugated by any other country, but by Maya, by your senses, by ignorance, by so many ways you are being subjugated and controlled. So, in this way, if you have the spiritual wisdom, if you have the internal freedom, you can be at any scenario. You can be in the middle of the war, you can be on top of the mountain, doesn't matter. That's what Krishna wants to teach us. That no matter where you are, you must be in internal connection with God, internal peace, understanding the meaning of life, not becoming bewildered by some, by some peace project or by some paradise project. No. The nature of this world is bad. I have to tell you, this world is not a good place to stay. So let us get out of here and not take birth again. This is the basic message of Krishna. I'm not sure about my time, if I'm speaking too much. What time am I supposed to stop? Okay, good. So, you understand my point. I know that my coming here and speaking all these things can be very dangerous for me because people might not like what I'm saying. But this is my duty to bring this message, be it painful or not for anyone. Truth must be told. This is the duty of a preacher, of a priest. Always tell the truth. And Krishna, he was very straightforward to Arjuna. He never tried to hide anything from Arjuna. He never tried to make Arjuna, feel that, okay, everything is fine, something will happen and that will make everything positive. Just be positive, just think positive, just vibrate some good, energy. It's not like that. Spirituality is something very practical. One of our gurus, he used to say, we must understand the spirituality in practicality and practicality in spirituality. Both things are combined and walking together. You are in this world, okay, so be in this world, follow your dharma, follow your position, right? But at the same time, also do your spiritual practice. Try to understand that you do not belong to this world. You are not Austrian, you are not Brazilians, you are not British, you are not Indian, you are a soul. And Krishna told to Arjuna in the very beginning of the Bhagavad-gita, soul never die. Soul cannot be wet, soul cannot burn, soul cannot dry out, soul is eternal. And what is the dharma of the soul? You know what is the meaning of the word dharma? Dharma means duty. Dharma is a very practical word also. Dharma means duty, means occupation. You have many different types of dharmas in your life. You have your dharma as a son or a daughter. You have your dharma as a parent. You have your dharma as an employee or as an employer. You have your dharma, in your profession. So many dharmas we have, right? But what about your soul? What is the dharma of your soul? What is the occupation of your soul? Not only the temporary, but the eternal occupation of your soul. What is your soul going to do when it gets out of this material world? All these things we have to be clear, right? Otherwise, you can't even start your spiritual practice. Why am I saying this? Because the Vedas explain that first you have to establish your goal, your spiritual goal, and then the means to achieve that will come following, not the opposite. It is a very common thing. People say, oh, the most important part of the journey is the journey itself. No matter where you're going to reach, the journey itself is the goal. Does it make sense? Of course not. If I am moving, I must move somewhere. I must want to go somewhere. Otherwise, better to just sit down, and be there, relaxing. Why I must put myself in a journey that I don't know where I'm going to, end up. So spiritual life begins first to understanding your goal in spiritual life. Not that you just start chanting mantras, doing prayers, going for pilgrimage, doing yoga, doing this, doing that, even if you don't know where you want to be. So that's one of the greatest misconceptions that Maya is putting to us. Then it becomes very superficial. So anything is fine. Any type of philosophy, any type of practice is fine because it doesn't matter where it's taking me. I'm just going. It becomes very empty, very meaningless, the life. And at the same time, there is no spirituality. Just for the sake of definition, what is the meaning of spirituality? We can define in so many ways spirituality, right? But spirituality means the way to connect the soul with God. No matter how you understand God, I'm not coming to this point, but to connect your soul with God, this is spirituality. Sometimes many things are being taken as spiritual, especially in this New Age movement, right? Therapies, chakras, stone gems, astrology, pranayama, meditations, this technique, that technique, Reiki, magnified healing. These things are not actually spirituality. These things are therapies, right? Sometimes we have the conception that, that person is very spiritualized. In her house, she has so many gems, crystals, nice incenses, different objects from different parts of the world. She likes many religions, many things. But in itself, it's not a spirituality. And then they sometimes neglect a Christian. Oh, no. The Christian, he's a full spiritual person. The Muslim, he's a fully spiritual person. The Jewish is a fully spiritual person because he's connecting himself with God directly without any other types of things. But sometimes the New Age movement tries to put itself higher, but at the same time not going directly and connecting itself with God. And is lost in so many other things which are not spiritual, instead of going directly and having this relationship with God. And this is called yoga, right? So in the same way, what Krishna wants ultimately from Arjuna. Krishna has many requests. I told you some of them, but there is the final request. That's when that Krishna tells Arjuna, Sarvadharamam parityaja, mam ekam sharanam braja, aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshayishami masruchaha. What Krishna is telling to Arjuna, Arjuna, give up all dharmas. Sarva dharmam, all dharmas. Parityaja means give up. And what you should do? Just surrender to me. Oh, wait a minute, Krishna, you just told me to follow my dharma. And now you want me to give up my dharma. That's a very complex thing. Say, Krishna says, yes. Before, according to that consciousness you had, I told you to follow the dharma. So once you are established in that dharma, then your consciousness is able to go higher. Now I am bringing you higher. And what is higher than following all dharmas? Is to follow God, is to surrender to God. For example, I took birth in such a family that we are Vaishyas. We are merchant and business people, right? But I gave up that dharma to only surrender to God, to Krishna. So I can give up that dharma if I am going for something higher. Surrender to God, this is the highest dharma. So among all the dharmas, we have different hierarchy as well. Then Krishna tells Arjuna, Man mana bhava mad bhakto mad yajimam unamashkuru mam evesyasi satyam te pratyajani priyosime. Okay, now that you have surrendered to me, you become my devotee. Man mana bhava mad bhakto. Krishna is saying to Arjuna, you become my devotee. You worship me. You pay your obeisances to me. You surrender to me. Then, only then, I can deliver you, because you are very dear to me. So in this way, we have all the journey of life in Bhagavad-gita described. According to the stage of consciousness, different teachings will be there. As you are growing up in consciousness, then you're getting higher teachings. We cannot apply the highest to the lowest position, not possible. Like the child is being taught that in mathematics, 1 plus 1 is equals 2, but 1 minus 2 is not possible. But once he goes to the high school, then he learns that 1 minus 2 is possible. This is minus 1. But in the beginning, the preschool, it was not possible. So we have to gradually, come to different levels of understanding, levels of consciousness. As we progress, we will receive higher knowledges. I have so many more things to say, but according to time, I want also to open for questions. If you have any questions, please. Any question if you have, no problem. I have no problem in answering any question. Even if the challenging one, or no problem. Even if not from this subject, you have any different types of questions, please.
Yeah, I have one. You said that we are in a war against Maya.
Yeah.
Is that the same war as our general concept of war? Because the war against Maya does not use violence, right? Or it does?
No, it's not in that sense. It's in the sense of what that causes to your life. You have to change your style, your lifestyle, to be able to win that. So you have to refrain from sense gratification. You have to take a very simple life, austere life, in order to be able to win this war against Maya. Because as long as you want to be in a sense gratification life, without rules, without regulations, then Maya is winning. Because Maya is this. The more you are identified with the body, then the more Maya is winning. So in the moment that you give up the bodily attachment, automatically you also give up the sense gratification. And you can be totally focused in the spiritual life. Because these things are incompatible. You can't keep both. It's not possible. You can, for some time, in a transition, gradually evolve. But I cannot say that you can have the full spiritual realization with the full gratification of the senses and the objects of this material world. It's not possible. So in that sense, the war that causes this state of consciousness, this austere state of consciousness. That is actually what we need. So therefore I told, either you put yourself in that spontaneously, or somehow sooner or later life will bring that. And this is God's mercy to us. I don't see the war as a bad thing in a general sense, because in a general sense nothing is bad. Everything is part of the dynamic of the world, created by God. The rules of the world are as such, created by God. Everything is there, right? But things become bad when we cannot use for God's service. This whole world is meant for God's service. Even my own body. It's not a bad thing. Like the Buddhists, they like to say that the body is bad, the senses must be shut down, the mind must be shut down. Our vision is different. Our vision is that everything should be used for the service of God. The senses, the mind, everything. Without the senses, how can I relate to God? How can I hear God's words? How can I chant God's names? How can I taste the food that I offer to God? How can I go to pilgrimage in the holy places? And through my mind, I am learning, I'm interacting, I'm serving. You know, without mind, you become like a rock. Mind is very important because the mind is the king of the senses, and mind is a bridge to the consciousness that comes from the soul. Right? So God made this with a purpose, that it has to be used on His service. And through all these senses and mind and everything, intelligence and ahankara, false ego, everything, we will be able to interact with God. And Krishna, He has form, He has senses, He has mind in an absolute perfect way. And this is how He relates to us. This is how He sees us, how He talks to us, how He's merciful, how He's compassionate, loving, because He has senses. Right? Yeah. Please.
Where I right now that there's two understandings. There's inner me, and right now I'm trying to understand mind, but at the same time I have this other purpose. So I'm kind of a little bit confused. But I'm open to being present and also listening. Lots of changes started happening when you open up. But I just wanted to
Of what exactly?
When you say Dharma, is this inner meaning or is it the outer purpose? Maybe that's confusing some concept.
Oh, the Dharma of the soul, you mean?
Dharma, yes.
Dharma,
Dharma,
okay.
I know the purpose is in helping his purpose.
Yes, actually not exactly purpose. Yes. This is also one of the misunderstandings. Purpose can be taken in so many different ways. And we have different Sanskrit word for that. This is called prayojan. But dharma comes in a specific definition or translation as occupation, as a duty. Something that you must do, like you or not. So for instance, Arjuna, he had a different purpose in his mind. That was not in the line of his dharma, but he was bound to follow the dharma, despite of his purpose. His purpose was not to fight. That was what he was inclined to do. But Krishna said, no, must follow the dharma. So dharma is your duty, is what you have to do, no matter what. Like what you have born to do. In the sense that is coming from your karma, that is your position, how you're born in this world. You have born like that, you have automatically many types of dharmas, occupations and duties. But ultimately you have the soul. What is the dharma of your soul? That is to serve God. Therefore, Vedic culture is called Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana means eternal, and Dharma means occupation. What is the eternal occupation of the soul? That is to serve God. That is to be with God in a transcendental abode, which is called Goloka Vrindavan. So the duty of all living entities, all the souls, is only one. That's to serve and love God. We were created by Him, for Him. We have no other independent existence or dharma apart from that. So you have to follow your dharma, your like material dharma, but at the same time you must follow your spiritual dharma, like simultaneously. Like for instance, this couple, they are working, they have their material life, they maintain the family, everything, but at the same time they have the spiritual practice. They chant the mantras every day, they follow the rules, they worship the deities, all these things. So these both things can go together, no problem. And when you are ready to give up this material dharma, then your spiritual master, he will tell you, okay, now you're ready to give up and only dedicate yourself to the spiritual side. But then, once you shift, you get another material dharma. Like my dharma as a monk. This is now my material dharma. To be a monk is nothing spiritual. To be a monk is just one more of the material occupations. Because my soul is not a monk. My body is a monk. Swami Mahavir is a monk. But I, as a soul, I'm not Swami Mahavir. Right? So you always be bound by some type of material dharma in this material world. As long as we have this body, some material dharma will be there. Of course, some are more closer to the spiritual life, some a little bit distant, like that. Is it clear? Somehow?
Yes, I keep thinking of this never-changing part of me. What's inside us never changing. Space, home. It will be end what's going on. Something is happening. And the problem I have is just holding on to this and I want to do it again. So how is going to So I'm sorry if I ask again. I asked something else. Because I feel like there is a hope.
Yes, definitely. You mean to renounce, right? Yes, definitely there is. Also part of our destiny. It's coming from many lifetimes. It's a long journey. It's not something from only this lifetime. Everyone is, evolving gradually through many lifetimes. And once you're ready, that will come naturally. And there will be some moment that this karma will blossom, and you find yourself in a very favorable situation so that you can just develop that. I have another lecture actually about all my spiritual journey, but that takes another hour and so. But just to be brief, I was in Rio de Janeiro. I was studying university, philosophy and all these things. And towards the very end of the university, I had this, we can say like a call from within that, okay, now it's time to give up everything and go to the mountain and just isolate yourself. Then I did that. I was for 6 months in the top of the mountain, living a very simple way, drinking river water, eating boiled vegetables, practicing yoga, hatha yoga, ashtanga yoga. Then I began to read Bhagavad-gita and other books like that, meditating like this. Then within 6 months, I became vegetarian at the time. I became a celibate. And then I decided that, okay, now I want to go deeper, but I must find my spiritual master. I felt that without a spiritual master, I cannot go in this journey alone. This is not a one-man journey. You need a guide, because a very, a very dense forest life is a very, difficult place to walk on. And then I was searching for my spiritual master. And then 2 years later, I found he came. And then I went to India to meet him in 2007. I was just 25 years old. And then, yes, then he told me, you stay in India, you'll be a monk, and like that, you'll be trained. Then I stayed for 7 years straight in India. And after that, I came out, and I began to travel and preach like that. So basically, it was this, a very short. But there are many more things that I tell in a full lecture. That maybe another opportunity we can share. Você é brasileira, não?
Não.
Oh. Fala português. Okay, nice. Thank you. Yes.
I have a question from understanding what you said. Thank you very much for giving the war picture also in the beginning. What I would like to understand is, you said the duty, the dharma of the soul is to serve God. And I completely agree. I do not disagree at all, but from my understanding, is it not also for the soul not, it doesn't contradict, but also to realize in the process of service, to realize itself, to realize the oneness, of being God,
Okay.
and being part of it.
Okay.
So it's not only through the service, it's also through the realization.
Yes, if you start with the premise that you are God, then
No.
you are.
I was given the name Ishvara, so maybe there's some understanding of that also. But yes, the realization is also
Right. Yes, this is a different conception from different lines of understanding. But according to Bhakti Yoga, we are not God. We are just part and parcel of God as a servants of God, and our realization is to just come to this conclusion that we are the eternal servants of God, right? And the identity of the soul, it has to be revealed. Yes, because we know that we are soul, but the soul is something. How can I explain to you? According to Vedanta, every existing object must follow four aspects: nama, guna, rupa, dharma. Name, form, qualities, and function. So everything which exists must have these four characteristics. Like, for instance, this chair. Name is chair, the shape is such, the quality is this a metal one, and the function, the dharma of the chair is that someone will sit on top of it. So the soul exists. So the soul also must follow these four characteristics. So your soul has a name, which is not Ishvara, also which is not Mahavir Maharaj, Mahavir Swami. Also, it is not soul. This name is not also Atma. Is like a real name, like a personal name. As you have Ishwar, your soul has another, personal name. It has a form. It has form. You know what is the form of the soul? What is the shape of the soul? Is this one that you see, with head, arms, and legs. In the same way that God has also the same shape, we also have this shape. And why only in the human body you can actually practice religion and yoga, because the human body is the only body that fits perfectly the soul, shape. So only through the human body the soul can express itself completely. In the other species of life, the body itself models and limits the consciousness. So you have different, levels of bodies that gives different levels of consciousness, and the highest is the human beings. So therefore, only human beings they do religion. No any other entity will perform religion, because of the shape of the body that allows the souls to express. Therefore, in the Bible it says that God made man on His own image, right? So that's the own image, right? And so this is the shape of the soul. And then quality, Satchitananda. Soul is eternal, is full of bliss and full of consciousness. And dharma, function, that is to serve God, love and serve God, right? So this is how, through logic, we will come to some spiritual understandings that will begin to give us some realization. But the best way to come to the full realization is by chanting God's name. This is the dharma of this age of Kali Yuga, to chant God's name. Therefore, we chant the mantra Hare Krishna, which is with the name of Krishna. So, all the different, Vedic religions, they will chant their God's names, because chanting is the best, way to unfold our spirituality. I have also another specific lecture about this, which is very interesting, also with slideshows. I explain all the science of mantra and all the processes, how mantra actually acts in our bodies, in our consciousness, and to give us the spiritual realization is very interesting. I don't have that yet in English on my YouTube channel, but we'll try to record somehow. On the 23rd of April. On 23rd of April, we have this lecture here. You can be in touch with Madhavi on my Instagram. You can also follow. Yeah. So we have different conceptions. So in this case, these differences will be there. Right? Any more questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
You talked about Maya.
Okay.
You talked about Maya, and I'm very glad I learned about that word, because it gives it form, I want to say. Recognizing Maya, is it something we then can kind of work with, because we are in a world of Maya all around us? Whatever we do, we will meet Maya. We are, or I want to say I know I'm being bombarded by Maya as well. And it's a constant war, which I also like. So I think my question is, following my Dharma, knowing that there is Maya coming with it, part of, I don't know how people go about it, and it's the feel, I want to say. Is it something I want to cast out, or is it something I want to intentionally work with?
Yes. The whole concept is to understand that Maya is also energy of God. It's part of Krishna's energy. In Bhagavad-gita, Krishna explains that very, very clearly. That Maya is an energy of mind, Krishna says, that deals with the inferior world, with the material world. So in ultimate sense, Maya is also a servant of Krishna, right? She's Durga. She's the personification, of Durga. So she works for Krishna. So she has the duty of punishing those who are against God, right? By putting them in the material world full of miseries. But she also has the duty to release those who are serving God and to make everything favorable for them. To open the ways and clear the ways. So she can be a great ally. Great ally. If she knows that you are serving Krishna and you are not trying to enjoy her separately from Krishna, then she'll be a great, support on your side. She's not a bad thing. My Gurudev used to say, it's not Maya that is embracing us. We are embracing Maya. Maya is energy of God. But when we think ourselves as God and we try to enjoy the material world independently, then she won't like that. Because she's a Shakti of Krishna. She's a feminine energy, of Krishna. So she can't be enjoyed by any other apart from him. So if we try to do that, then she'll punish us. But she can be a great supporter for us. And she is. As long as you want to act properly, she'll be on your side. That's how we can live in this world full of problems, but nevertheless your life can be very nice and very peaceful. Very peaceful. We are living in the same neighborhood, but everyone have complete different experiences in the same, block. Complete different experiences, because Maya is protecting some, Maya is punishing others. This is the good news, the good part, Yes. So I want to invite all of you to come to know more about this message of the Bhagavad-gita and other subjects from Vedic culture. I have an English YouTube channel as well. It is not as big as my Portuguese one. In my Portuguese one, I have almost 900 lectures. The English one is slowly beginning, maybe dozens lectures, but nevertheless very, very important ones. And the full Bhagavad-gita lecture is there, full. The full study of the Gita, verse by verse, everything systematically is there. And I want to also say that if you want to begin to practice by chanting this mantra, the mantra for Krishna, Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, which is the best mantra. That's why this is called Maha Mantra. In the Vedas, we have many mantras, but the Maha Mantra means the great mantra. This is the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. It is described in so many books, Bhagavatam, Puranas, Upanishads, Mahabharata, so many books, the glories of this mantra. So by chanting this mantra, you can get all spiritual perfection very quick. Now, in Srimad Bhagavatam, Shukadeva Goswami is telling to Parikshit Maharaj, Kalir dosanide rajam asti hiyako mahan guna. Kirtanad eva krishnasya mukta sanga param braje. He's saying, Parikshit Maharaj, he's the king. Say, this Kali Yuga means the age we live nowadays. Kali Yuga is full of faults, full of problems. But nevertheless, it has one greatest quality, that just by chanting the names of Krishna, you can get delivered from the bondages of Maya. Mantra is the most, efficient way to achieve perfection. I can't, lecture about that again because our time is over. But anyhow, so if you want, I have with me some japa malas. Japa malas are like our spiritual weapon. We are talking about war and weapons. So this is the weapon of those who want to fight with Maya. This is the japa mala. This is the best weapon, and you hold like this, and you chant the mantra one by one. And by that, automatically, you experience a lot of peace, a lot of self-control, and especially this very deep, loving connection with God through the devotion. So if you want, I have some japamalas here with me. So afterwards, if anyone is interested, can come and talk to me just by your spontaneous desire. Okay, so thank you so much for having me today. I'm very happy to be here with all of you. I'm sorry if my words hurt you somehow, if it was not as expected, but I just come to repeat what I heard from my masters and from Krishna himself. Hare Krishna. Vancha kalpatarvasya kripa sindhu bevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah.